This is one of my earliest memories, and even now, it still doesn't feel real. We had just moved away from that town not long after, so everything before that time feels blurry. But this memory, it never faded. I must have been around 5, maybe 6 years old. Back then, my mom used to take my little brother and me to the local library all the time. It was only a few blocks from where we lived. That day, we had spent hours at the mall first. I remember holding a half-melted ice cream cone from McDonald's as we walked into the library. My hands were sticky, my mind completely carefree, just a normal day as a kid. The library felt huge back then. Endless rows of books, quiet voices, soft lighting. There was a small computer section for kids, and my mom let me sit there and play games while she took care of things with my little brother. After a while, I got bored, so I wandered off. I started walking through the aisles in the children's section, looking for my favorite books, the I Spy series. That's when I heard it. A voice, soft, right behind me. "Peekaboo," it said. I turned around. No one was there. Just shelves, books, silence. Then, from behind one of the shelves, I saw it. Half of a man's face peeking out, watching me. "Peekaboo," he said again. I laughed. At that age, I didn't feel fear. I didn't understand danger. To me, it was just a game. He disappeared behind the shelf again, then slowly leaned out once more, smiling, watching me. And something about that smile, even now when I think back on it, it feels wrong. I stood there, still holding what was left of my ice cream, watching him. He stepped out from behind the shelf, a full-grown man, smiling like this was completely normal. "What are you looking for?" he asked gently. "I spy books," I replied. He nodded, as if he already knew. "Come on," he said. "I'll help you find them." Before I could even think, he took my hand, and I let him. That's the part that still haunts me the most. I didn't pull away. I didn't question it, because I was just a kid. He led me through the aisles slowly, guiding me toward the section where the books were organized alphabetically. Then we stopped. Right in front of them, a row of I Spy books, just like he said. I got excited and grabbed my favorite one, Treasure Hunt. "Let's sit and play," he suggested. We walked to a nearby table in the corner close to the children's computers. Everything still felt normal, almost safe. We opened the book and started playing. "I spy something red," he said. I laughed and pointed things out, completely unaware of what was happening. Time passed. I don't know how long, but slowly, things started to feel different. He began asking questions, small ones at first. "What's your name? How old are you?" Then, "Who are you here with?" "My mom and my little brother," I answered. He nodded slowly, too slowly, like he was thinking, planning. Then he said something that changed everything. "You know, there's a playroom downstairs. We can take the book there. It's more fun." I paused. I didn't even know the library had a downstairs. But he was already standing up, still holding my hand, leading me away. And this time, something inside me didn't feel right anymore. I didn't understand why, but my chest started to feel tight. Something felt wrong, but I was too young to fully understand what that feeling meant. So I followed him. He led me to a door at the side of the library, a door I had never noticed before. He opened it. Behind it, a narrow staircase leading down into darkness. The air felt colder, quieter. He gently pulled me along. "Come on," he said softly. We walked down the stairs. Each step echoed louder than it should have. When we reached the bottom, there was a long hallway. The lights would dim, flickering slightly, making everything feel off. At the end of the hallway, there was a small room, the playroom, just like he said. Inside, there were toys scattered around, a Lego table, a few chairs, some old games. It looked harmless, normal, but it didn't feel that way, not anymore. He placed the I Spy book on the Lego table. "Go play," he said. His voice sounded different now, colder, more controlling. I hesitated. "I want to go back to my mom," I said quietly. He didn't respond. Instead, he stepped closer. "Play," he repeated, stronger this time. My heart started beating faster. Then, suddenly, a voice echoed through the building, over the loudspeaker. "Will Liam please come to the front desk? Your mother is looking for you." That was me, my real name. My mom was looking for me. Relief hit me instantly. But at the same time, everything changed. The man turned his head slowly toward the door. Then, without saying anything, he reached for the light switch and turned it off. The room dropped into complete darkness, pitch black. I couldn't see anything. Then his voice came out of the darkness. "Let's play hide and seek." My heart stopped. This wasn't a game anymore. This was something else, something terrifying. I started to panic. "I want my mom!" I cried out. "Shh," he whispered sharply. "Be quiet." His voice was closer now, too close. I couldn't see him, but I could hear him moving, getting closer. Then I felt his hands on me. The moment I felt his hands on me, something inside me snapped. Pure fear took over. I twisted, pulled, and struggled with everything my small body had. His grip wasn't strong enough to hold me completely, and somehow I broke free. I ran, blindly, straight into the darkness. I didn't even know where I was going. I just knew I had to get away. Behind me, I could hear him, moving fast. "Be quiet," he snapped, his voice louder now, angrier. I ignored him. I ran through the dark hallway, my hands brushing against cold walls, my heart pounding so hard it felt like it would explode. I reached the stairs and started running up as fast as I could. That childhood fear hit me, the one where you feel like something is chasing you up the stairs in the dark. But this time, it was real. I didn't dare look back. I thought, if I look back, he'll be right there, right behind me, reaching for me. I burst through the door at the top and ran straight into the main floor of the library. Lights, people, noise, safety. I screamed, "Mom!" Heads turned, everything blurred. And then I saw her, standing near the front desk with a group of librarians. The look on her face, relief, fear, panic, all at once. I ran straight into her arms. I was shaking, crying uncontrollably. "There was a man. He took me downstairs," I managed to say. Her entire expression changed instantly. She went from scared to furious. Within minutes, everything turned chaotic. Staff members rushed around. Someone called the police. Librarians started searching the building. But he was gone, vanished, like he had never been there. Police officers arrived shortly after. They asked me questions gently, trying not to scare me more than I already was. But I never saw that man again. Not that day, not ever. And even now, I still think about one thing. If my mom hadn't called for me at that exact moment, if that announcement hadn't played, I don't know what would have happened to me in that dark room. And honestly, I don't want to know. Back in my early 20s, I worked 2 jobs just to get by. One of them was at a local public library, but not during the day. I worked the night shift. 3 nights a week, I'd arrive around 6 p.m. after finishing my first job, already exhausted, already drained, and I'd stay there until closing time at 9 p.m. But the job didn't end when the doors closed, not even close. After the last visitor left, I had a routine. Shut down all the computers, organize the chairs, restock returned books and DVDs, take out the trash, lock everything up. And I had to do all of it alone. Well, almost alone. On most nights, there would be one librarian with me until closing, but the moment the clock hit 9, they would leave. And the rest, that was all on me. That Friday night felt normal at first. Too normal. As closing time approached, I made the usual announcements over the intercom. The library will be closing in 15 minutes. A few people gathered their things. Then, the library is now closed. The last 2 visitors packed up and walked out. I watched them leave, waited, listened. Silence. No footsteps, no movement, no voices. Just me, alone in the building. I locked the front door and began my routine. Chairs slid across the floor, trash bags rustled. The faint hum of electronics filled the empty space. Everything felt still. Then I remembered. The garbage outside. I unlocked the front door again and stepped out into the dark, carrying the bags to the dumpster at the side of the building. The night air was cold, heavy, too quiet. I threw the bags in, then turned back toward the entrance. For a second, I felt it. That strange feeling, like I wasn't alone. I quickly went back inside and locked the door behind me. I told myself it was nothing, just my imagination. But deep down, something didn't feel right anymore. I tried to shake off the feeling. There was still work to do. I grabbed the return cart and started with the DVDs first. It was quicker, easier. The small section made it simple to finish fast. But even as I worked, I kept listening. Every tiny sound felt amplified. The hum of the lights, the faint creak of the shelves, my own breathing. After about 10 minutes, I finished restocking the DVDs. That's when I heard it. A sound from one of the book aisles. I froze. It wasn't loud, just a soft shift, like something had moved. Slowly, I walked toward the aisle, each step careful, quiet. When I turned the corner, I saw it. A book, lying open on the floor. I stared at it. It hadn't been there before. I was sure of it. I picked it up, placing it back on the shelf. For a moment, I just stood there, thinking. Maybe it fell on its own. Old shelves, loose books. It happens. right? I forced myself to move on, went back to the cart, started working through the books this time, placing them back in order, A to Z, trying to stay focused, trying to ignore that feeling. But then it happened again. Another sound, closer this time. I stopped, listened, and then thud. Something hit the floor. Not one, but two books, falling almost at the same time. My heart started pounding. That wasn't normal. That wasn't random. Someone was here. I slowly stepped out into the open area and raised my voice. "Hello, the library is closed." Silence. For a second, nothing. Then, from the far side of the building, the children's section, a sound, low, strange, almost like growling. My entire body went cold. It didn't sound human. Not completely. I stood there for a moment, frozen, trying to convince myself I was imagining it. But then it came again, louder. A low, distorted growl, mixed with the sound of books being shoved off shelves. My body reacted before my mind could. I started walking toward the children's section, slowly, carefully. Every step felt wrong, like I was getting closer to something I shouldn't see. The lights in that area felt dimmer somehow, the shadows stretching unnaturally between the shelves. Then I heard it clearly, books hitting the floor, one after another. I reached the end of the aisle, and finally, I looked. My stomach dropped. There was a woman standing there, wearing a thin, worn-out nightgown. Her hair was messy, tangled, hanging over her face, and she was throwing books violently, one after another, ripping them off the shelves and slamming them onto the ground. But that wasn't the worst part. The sounds she was making. They weren't words. They weren't screams. They were animal-like, distorted, unnatural, like something was very, very wrong with her. I didn't say a word, didn't make a sound. I slowly stepped back, then turned and ran. I ran straight to the office, locked the door behind me, pulled the blinds shut over the small window. My hands were shaking as I grabbed the phone. I dialed 911. "She's in the library," I whispered urgently. "There's a woman. She's not okay. I think she's dangerous." The operator's voice came through, calm but serious. "Stay on the line. Are you safe?" "I'm in the office. The door is locked." "Can you see her?" I hesitated, then slowly reached for the blinds and lifted them just a little. What I saw made me scream. She was right there, standing inches from the glass, staring directly at me. Her eyes, wide, unfocused, her pupils so large they almost swallowed the whites completely. She didn't look human. She looked possessed. I stumbled backward, nearly dropping the phone. "She's right outside!" I shouted into the receiver, my voice shaking. "She's right in front of me!" The operator stayed calm. "Stay where you are. Keep the door locked. Officers are on the way." I forced myself to look again. She was still there, just staring, not blinking, not moving. Then suddenly, bang! She slammed her hands against the glass. I flinched. My heart felt like it stopped. She started screaming, but it wasn't normal screaming. It was distorted, broken, like words that didn't exist. She grabbed the door handle and twisted it violently, over and over again, trying to get in. But it wouldn't open. The lock held. After a few seconds, she stopped. Just like that. Silence. Then slowly, she turned around, walked to a chair nearby, and sat down, facing the office, still watching me, not saying a word, not moving, just waiting. The operator told me to keep the blinds open and keep eyes on her, so I did, even though every second felt like a nightmare. Her body swayed slightly as she sat there, unstable, unnatural. It was clear she wasn't in her right mind. Minutes felt like hours. Then finally, I heard it. Sirens, getting closer. Then flashing lights lit up the windows. 2 police cars, an ambulance. Relief hit me so hard I almost collapsed. Officers rushed inside. They approached her carefully, but the moment they got close, she snapped, screaming again, thrashing, trying to fight them. It took multiple officers to restrain her. They handcuffed her and escorted her out as she continued yelling incoherent sounds. The paramedics took her into the ambulance, and just like that, she was gone. The building fell silent again, but it didn't feel the same anymore, not even close. I sat there for a while, trying to process everything, my hands still shaking, my heart still racing. I never found out who she was or how she got inside. Maybe she slipped in while I was taking out the trash, or maybe she had been inside the whole time, watching, waiting. Either way, from that night on, being alone in that library after closing never felt safe again.